Welcome to The Explainer. So what happens when you take a forgotten luxury car from 1990 and challenge artisans to completely remake it into a futuristic masterpiece inspired by a multi-million-dollar hypercar? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, this incredible mix of history, hand craftsmanship, and just really bold design.
What we're really looking at here is a story about bridging a massive 36-year gap in car design. On one side, you've got the icon of 1990s luxury, and on the other, you see the inspiration for its future, the super sleek, flowing design of the 2026 Rose Noire Droptail.
Okay, so this is the central question, isn't it? How do you take a piece of history, something with its own soul and character, and turn it into a vision of the future, without just erasing what made it special to begin with? It's a huge challenge, mixing engineering and pure art.
To really see how this magic happens, we're going to follow the entire process. We'll start with the vision, then watch as they strip the car right down to its skeleton, see the body and interior get totally reborn, and then finally, check out the incredible finished product.
So let's get into it. Every massive transformation like this has to start somewhere. And this one? Well, it didn't begin in some fancy showroom. Nope. It started with a neglected classic car and a goal that was, incredibly ambitious.
Yeah, the foundation for this whole project wasn't some mint-condition collector's car that was kept under a cover its whole life. It was a legend that had kind of faded, a car that had actually been driven and lived a life, and was now basically crying out for a complete and total rebirth.
Before you can build something amazing, you have to tear the old thing down. This next part of the process is super methodical, it's careful, and it is absolutely essential to the whole project. This is really the point where the old car stops existing, just to make room for the new one.
Now, this right here shows you just how precise this all is. This isn't just about ripping parts off. It's a very deliberate, almost surgical process. You're carefully recovering what you can, inspecting every single little piece, and then dismantling it all, just to get a perfect foundation to build on.
All right, so with the car stripped down to its bare bones, the true artistry can finally begin. This is where metal gets shaped by hand, and the car's entire identity is forged into something new and modern.
So to get that one-of-a-kind shape, the team used an old-world technique called coachbuilding. And just so we're clear, this is the absolute polar opposite of a factory assembly line. We're talking about skilled craftspeople using hammers and tools to shape every single metal panel by hand, making sure every curve is absolutely perfect.
And this is where you really see that beautiful mix of old and new. They keep the car's original frame, its skeleton, but then they wrap it in completely new, hand-formed panels. These new panels are inspired by what they call the petal-like design of the Droptail. So think of these flowing, organic layers that kind of overlap, almost like a flower blooming.
And the finishing touch on this amazing exterior? The paint. That deep Rose Noire color isn't just a color. It's a whole process. It's layered and polished again and again and again until it has this incredible depth. It's so deep it becomes this perfect glossy mirror that reflects all the craftsmanship that went into it.
All right, let's move from the outside in. Let's step inside the car and see how the cabin, the real soul of the car, was transformed into this sanctuary of modern luxury that somehow still respects its classic origins.
Just look at the difference here. The shift is just incredible. Everything that was worn out and dated is just gone. It's all replaced with hand-stitched leather inspired by rose petals and custom wood veneers that have that modern artistry of the 2026 Droptail. It just completely elevates the entire experience inside.
And the really smart part here was the guiding principle: subtlety. Of course, it's got a modern infotainment system and climate control, but you're not going to see some giant iPad just tacked onto the dashboard. No way. All the tech is seamlessly integrated, a lot of it even hidden behind classic wood panels, all to keep that timeless classic feeling inside the cabin.
Because look, a car can be the most beautiful thing in the world, but it has to drive beautifully, right? A stunning look doesn't mean much without a reliable, powerful heart. And that brings us to the complete mechanical overhauls.
And this was a full-on mechanical rebirth. The engine, the suspension, the brakes, everything was modernized. The goal here was to get rid of that heavy, kind of boat-like feel of the old 1990s car and replace it with a driving experience that feels effortless, responsive, and reliable enough to drive every day. The drive had to match the new look.
So after all of that painstaking work,
The deconstruction, the artistry, the engineering, we finally arrive at the final, truly breathtaking result. This is the sum of thousands of hours of work.
And this phrase, a seamless fusion, really captures it perfectly. What they created isn't just a restored old car, and it's not a replica of a new one. It's something totally different. It's a true fusion, where the soul of the original car is made even better with modern craftsmanship and a vision of future luxury.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. When you take the soul of a classic and you infuse it with all this modern art and technology, do you actually create a whole new category of perfection? Something that might even be better than new?